Om Shri Sai Ram. You know, they say a bad coin keeps coming back to you. So like that bad coin, I'm again back before you. But you have to bear me out. After taking us on the path of bhakti, Brother Shitu has touched our emotional chord, our chord of devotion, bhakti, shraddha, saburi, and made me reflect. And as I was hearing him this morning, on many occasions, I couldn't resist some tears welling down my cheek, remembering, reminiscing, and what shall we say, chewing the cud of Swami's devotion. Now, those of us who have been so immensely blessed by Bhagavan, and somebody told Swami that, Swami, I am so blessed that how many in my previous janma I have made punya, therefore you are blessing me with all this year, in this janma. Swami said, Vakka janmam kadu, ennyo janmam. Means not that you are getting this for the punya you have done in one janma, but you are getting this because of the punya you have done in so many past lives that you led. And if you look at it and reflect and think, what is it that made God give us this experience? What is it that God took the trouble of holding our hands, lifting us up, supporting us, guiding us, showing us the direction, giving us the peace, the strength to bear the difficulties, and more than anything else at all times, giving us firm faith and devotion. There is a wonderful prayer which is inscribed in stone in our ancestral temple, which was built by my late grandfather Ganesh Rao, just about 25 miles out of Bangalore, a small hamlet called Sondekuppa. There was a very ancient Channakeshava Swami temple, which is our family deity, and most of you may know that it is a practice that your Ishtadevata becomes your family deity, and it comes according to your lineage. So, my ancestors came from a place which is halfway between Bengaluru and Puttaparthi. It is the border state, borderline between Karnataka and Andhra. So I can somewhat legitimately claim that I am an Andhra person also, so that I will get the credit of being in Swami's great company. If it is a language, this is a small hamlet, very close to Chikbellapura. This is a town called Mudigere. And there is a Lord Channakeshava temple there, which was built in 1079 as per a stone inscription that is found there during the reign of the Vijayanagar kings. And that was the place where my forefathers were living, and they were worshipping this Lord Channakeshava. And years later, due to so many reasons, pestilence, plague, and that's a very dry area, so there's no water source. So a family migrated nearer to Bangalore and came to this small village called Sondekuppa. There was a very ancient old temple there, which was completely dilapidated. There was no temple in existence there. And my grandfather's father, that is my great-grandfather, started living there. And I'm not taking the story too long because we have to talk so many things about Swami. So I'll keep that aside. And my grandfather decided to rebuild a dilapidated temple in Sundekuppa and built a beautiful temple now, which has Channakeshava with Radha and Rukmini. We have Rama Parivar, Navagrahas, Anjaneya Swami, Ganapati, and Subramanya Swami. These are the sannidhis which we have there. So my grandfather was a highly pious person. He was a lawyer, a very fiery type of temperament, a great orator, a Freemason, a founder of many institutions. And he was introduced to great people at very young age. Swami Vivekananda's immediate Shishya was Swami Brahmananda, and Swami Brahmananda's immediate Shishya was Swami Yatishwarananda. So Swami Yatishwaranandji was living in Bangalore ashram, and my grandfather came into close contact with him. And Swami Yatishwaranandji then went and set up the Vedantic Center in Switzerland, and he wrote a book called Adventures in Spiritual Life. It's a very small, tiny book which has a selection from various Puranas, Upanishads, Vedas, compositions of great Acharyas, and an English translation of it. I have a signed copy presented by him to my grandfather in the year 1953 with blessings from Swami Yatishwarananda. That book contains a number of sayings. I looked everywhere but did not find the saying which became my grandfather's most famous saying, and he had it inscribed at the very opening entrance of the temple. I'll say it in Kannada and then translate it. ಬಾಳು ಸಾರ್ಥಕವಾಗುವುದು ದೇವರ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ. ಆದರೂ ದೇವರ ಕೃಪೆ ನಾವು ಬಯಸಬೇಕು. ಭಗವಂತ ಇಂತಹ ಬಯಕೆಯನ್ನು ನನಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಕರುಣಿಸು. It simply means this, that fulfillment in life comes only with the grace of God. But the grace of God will come to you by your yearning, by your intense desire, by your feeling that I must get the grace of God and reach a destination. How will you get this yearning? Mumukshatva, as we are talking about. That is possible only with the grace of God Himself. And therefore the prayer is, "Oh Lord, give me more and more of this desire to yearn for the ultimate result." So it starts with God giving you something. It's not that we just sit down here and we suddenly say, "God, I want you to give me this, that." That desire, like a baby crying for mother, milk, will only happen if the baby is crying. So how will that baby cry? The baby will cry if the hunger hits it. And how will that hunger come? It is because, again, of nature. So in the same way, it is important for us to realize that our feeling today of being in the company of the great, being in the immediate presence of Swami who is sitting amidst all of us, behind me, in front of me, everywhere. Intane, jantane, ventane, kantane, untano. You heard these expressions Swami saying, no? I'm always going to be in you, around you, above you, below you, everywhere around you. It is something which we have to perceive it. Now, the path of bhakti, yesterday I briefly mentioned it. There are 3 paths. Brother Shittu has taken us down the path of bhakti. The intense devotion which he felt for Swami, how did he feel it? Why did he feel it? It was because he was the chosen one. Swami chose him to be the recipient of his grace. If he did not choose him, as he pointed out, it's not that he came from a family of great devotees and therefore you had the benefit of going on that path. Like I often mention that it is thanks to our forefathers that we are put on some kind of a spiritual path. We are put on some line of thinking that we want to think of God. We have a Nitya Puja. In young age, we are taught Sanskrit. In young age, we were taught the Vedas, not all of it, but a substantial part of it. We are made to practice it, and we practice it with Nitya Puja, and we practice it on occasions with elaborate puja like Shivaratri and other occasions. There is a Nitya Puja at home, never miss it. Now, these are traditions which have been kept. Today, when you go out of your cocoon, or the comfort of your house, you tend to forget all these things, especially in the Western world. I'm sorry if I'm being a bit, what shall I say, rude. How many of us would think of building a nice puja room in our big mansions in America for God? Do we feel the need to keep God in a particular place where we can sit with Him and converse with Him? Or do we put Him in the attic? Or sometimes in the basement next to the bar? Sometimes in a corner in the kitchen? Is that while I'm having coffee, I look at Him and say, "Oh, hi, good morning, thank you, have a good day. I hope you have a good day too." Is that where we place God? Swami often used to say, if you have a toothache, with great difficulty you will get an appointment with the dentist. If he delays it by one day, you'll be thinking of God. He said, "God, please get me a dentist appointment today. I can't wait for one day." And you got that appointment, and the time comes, you're looking at the watch 1 hour before that time. You reach his office at least half an hour before time, and you put your stopwatch on, and you're looking at your watch like this, 59, 58, 57, 56, and you'll never be late for the dentist appointment. What happens when we come to appointment with God? TK is, "I'm a bit busy, man. Okay, take it easy today. Look after me. I'll come and say hi to you tomorrow if I have time." And what priority do we have for God in our lives? Because God is looking after us all the time. We heard the wonderful stories from Brother Shitu today. How He is looking after you at all times. There is no time, there is no rest day for God, no Sabbath. Sunday, if God tells us, Sunday, don't disturb me, I'm taking it easy. I'm just putting up my feet and, watching a nice basketball match. So I don't want you guys to send me any prayers on Sunday. Imagine what will happen. If you have a problem on Sunday, what do? So there is no rest for God. So when you have an appointment with your dentist, you are never late. But when is your appointment with God? I think that is something which all of us must reflect, especially the young people. Why we always say, I'm an old guy, so when I say young people, everybody says, all these old guys keep on targeting us. Yeah. They believe that, we young people don't believe in anything, we don't do anything, they interfere with our right of freedom. And this is the general, comments. Maybe the elite young people who are here may not be telling me that, but in their mind, these thoughts are working. These guys are just going on irritating us with telling us what to do, what not to do. But the object of this retreat is for all of us to introspect, for all of us to think, and then see what is it that is needed. Now, what are the qualities that are needed for the purpose of progressing on the spiritual path? Now, yesterday we heard Shitu talking about Hanuman, and the beautiful episode about how Hanuman volunteered and how Rama cross-examines him and elicits information to say, "What a foolish guy you are. You don't know where you're going, you don't know what you're searching for, and you come and volunteer. You must be a fool." Now, I felt something like that when one day, in the heat of summer, I got summons from Vrindavan, to say, Swami wants to see you. And it was usually in the month of May is our court vacation, so I was there. And Swami said, you have to go to Rajasthan. So I was a bit perplexed. And I did not ask anything. And I was told that I can reach the airport at such and such a time. Just to put a little context before that, I used to go to Puttaparthi quite often. From say the 1996 onwards, it was more regular. And my role was that I would, I'll go back a little bit now and then come back to this story. I suddenly lost my father in 1996 while arguing a case. He just collapsed in court and just left us. And my father considered himself to be a great devotee of Bhagwan, and Bhagwan reciprocated it so beautifully with him. And whenever my father was in any program with Swami, Swami would ask, Sundar Swami, today what should we discuss? This often happened in Kodaikanal. Whenever Swami sat down, he would ask my father to suggest a topic on which Swami should speak. The conversation used to go like that. It was a very affectionate conversation that was always there. And whenever Bhagwan was in Vrindavan, my father would go for darshan on weekends only, because he was a busy lawyer like me. And therefore on weekends, whenever he went, Swami, it was then the Trai Vrindavan was not there, it was the old bungalow which was there. And he had a right of entry, and so he would go inside and we would be waiting outside the gate till he took Swami's permission for us to go inside. And then, of course, darshan was there and it used to go on like that. Now, after I suddenly lost my father was a member of the state trust, along with Dr. Padmanabhan, Gangadhar Shetty Garu, Sundar Rao, so many of the people who are very affectionately known to our family. My entry into Vrindavan became a bit of an issue, because I was nobody, except that some people knew I was the son of so-and-so, but I had no right of being seated in a particular area. So I went one day on my own, and I decided that what shall I do now? And the Sevadal, I asked him, then he said, you can go and sit in a particular box somewhere in third, fourth blocks. I went and sat there. Few minutes before that, Dr. Padmanabhan always had the habit of coming outside to see who is sitting where, because sometimes Swami would ask him, Yoru Acharo. So to answer that question, he would come, do a quick recce and go back. So he came and he saw me sitting in the penultimate row. He came to me and said, what are you doing here? I said, sir, I have just come for darshan. No, you can't sit here. Come on, get up. He held my hand, went and put me in the place where the state trust trustees were sitting. I said, sir, can I sit here? No, you sit here. Swami wants to see you and you must be here. Don't sit anywhere else. So I sat there, Swami came, and of course he gave darshan, and that's all that happened that day. Few days later, I decided that I must go to Prashanti Nilayam with my wife and children, young children then. And I decided how to go there. So I asked Gangadhar Shetty Garu, sir, I am going to Prashanti Nilayam. I don't know anybody there, so how do I get some accommodation and get Swami's darshan? So Gangadhar Shetty Garu wrote out a letter to Mr. Chiranjeev Rao and said, you take this letter, please give it to him, and he will make all the arrangements. So I was, maha confident, wow, I got a great recommendation letter. Swami is not an issue now. And I went there, 3 young children, and reached there in the afternoon, and went to Mr. Chiranjeev Rao's office, and I boldly gave him this letter. Sir, this letter is for you. So he opened the letter, folded it, kept it. Okay, you come tomorrow, he said. So then I told him, sir, I've got family, I've got children, I need some accommodation. Accommodation? Okay, you go. So somewhere in some half a mile away, the last room he gave us. And of course, being young children, we are sort of somewhat prepared to have at least blanket and things like that for ourselves. The room was just a bare room, nothing else in it. So anyway, we went there. Then I asked him, sir, for darshan. Tomorrow, you come to that side gate at 6 o'clock, he said. So I said, okay, we went, rested, got some food there. Next day morning, I reached that designated spot. And my wife, had to go in another entrance with the kids, so she was somewhere. I lost track of where she was, and I don't know how she's going to get in. And I was waiting, no sign of Chiranjeev Rao. So then the Sevadal who was there said, "Sir, what are you waiting for?" I said, "No, Mr. Chiranjeev Rao told me to wait here." "Sir, Chiranjeev Rao is not coming today. He's got back pain. So you don't stand here." So I said, "What should I do?" So Swami is coming anytime now. So if you want to come, I'll put you in the last row in Kulwanthal. I said, "Wherever it is okay." So I went sat in the last row. Swami came, I could just see a speck in front of me, and that was the end of darshan. So then I went back. After darshan, again I went to pay my respect to Chiranjeev Rao. So I told him, "Sir, morning I was waiting for darshan. I did not meet you." "What? You think we have no other work other than you? Come back in the afternoon." So I said, "Okay." I said, "My wife and children they will manage, you don't worry." Okay. So came back. My wife she was composed. She didn't have any problem. But then when I came back in the afternoon, and he told me, "You come at this time." So I came at the designated time. 10 minutes earlier, Chiranjeev Rao is waiting inside at that entrance with folded hands. As he saw me, he folded his hands, came up to me, held my hand. "Sir, please come." So I was a bit shocked. And then I said, "Sir, I'll go and sit somewhere." No, you have to sit in veranda." So I didn't know what is veranda. I said, "Anywhere I can sit." No. "You see, this Vice Chancellor is sitting. Next to him is your seat. You have to sit there. Swami has said you have to sit there." So that is my first introduction to Prashanti Nilayam. And I sat there. Of course, Swami came. That was the first visit that I made after my father's passing. And Swami came, and there was some event taking place that day. His chair was placed in front side. So as soon as he came, he saw me, he held my hand, and he lifted me up, and he went to the chair where he was sitting and asked me to sit right in front, neck on the left side. And I was overwhelmed, and I had tears in my eyes. And I said, "Swami, you have to take care of me now." He said, "Of course, your father is safe with me. Why you worry? He's come back to me. And you are safe with me, so you don't have to worry." I said, "Swami, I'd like to come very often." "Yes, of course, this is your house. You have to come every time. And bring your family also." I told him my wife and children come. Yes, they should all come. You all come." And ever since that day, till this day, Swami has ensured that we have no issues whatsoever so far as darshan is concerned. This is nothing but an act of divine grace. What else is it? I was nobody. I had no connection. I had nothing to do with Swami's organization except to be, part of my father's family. But then Swami's grace is so much on all of us that it continues unabated. I'll now go back to some years thereafter. I was one day very anxious to meet Swami to report some activity that was taking place, about which we needed some guidance from Swami. So my usual program was I would leave home at 3 o'clock and pack up some idli, chutney, something. On the way, just before reaching Putparthi on the roadside, we would stop, feed the kids, my wife and I would eat quickly, wash hands, and go straight for darshan, because Swami's time was 6:40 in the morning, was the darshan time. So we would be there in time and seated. So I went there, and I went to the usual place, and I sat down. My place was exactly opposite the Swami's interview door. So the minute I entered Kulwanthal, I noticed there was a chair placed where I was to sit. So then I realized, oh God, some VIP character has come. What am I going to do? How will I get time with Swami? These thoughts came to my mind. So it doesn't matter, no, I have no choice. So I went and sat behind the chair. Swami came promptly for darshan. He looked around and came to this place. Just before Swami came, this gentleman came and sat there. He was the Chief Minister of Maharashtra. So he came, I thought, now gone, no chance for me. Then his wife also came and joined him. So I said, now it's further gone. So Swami opened the door, called them for an interview. Then I was thinking to my monkey mind, how shall I now communicate? To whom should I do? In less than 5 minutes, the door opened. Swami ushered them outside. They both went away. And Swami stood at the door and started looking at me. He looked at me, the anxiety on my face. Come, he said. So I went inside. Swami sat down in the chair. I was supposed to tell him so many things. I just sat down in front of him. I touched his feet and I was waiting for Swami to give some indication that I can speak. Because what I always followed was till Swami gave you an opening, I never said anything to Bhagwan. If we had to say something, we would keep it in our mind. And when he permitted it, either by express word or by a gesture or any other means, then only we would communicate. So he didn't say anything. I was holding his feet and he was sitting and in his own world. And this went on for more than half an hour to 45 minutes. So then I looked at my watch. I said, oh God, it's now 10 minutes to 9. 9 o'clock is bhajan. And Swami will never be able to listen to what I have to do now. What do? I have to go back today. So then suddenly Swami heard my thoughts, read them, and then said, how is Bangalore? Children are all going to school. Have they come today? This kind of conversation went on. Swami suddenly looked at the watch. Oh, bhajan will start in 5 minutes. Then he said, you want to say something? You please say. Then I quickly submitted whatever I had to say. And the conversation ended, that's all, in less than 1 minute. And then Swami got up and said, no, bhajan will start, so we cannot speak to each other now. Conversation ended. So came out. Now, everybody sitting outside thinks, what is this? This chief minister has come and gone like this, and this man has gone inside. And before we left, Swami made one comment. He said, Chief Minister Astaro, Potaro. My devotees come and they are permanent. Now, see in what manner Swami communicated this. He could have said so many things. But he said, when he looked at me as a devotee, to him, I was more important than anyone else. No one else is more important to God than his devotee. In Krishna, Sudhama story, we hear that, no? Same thing with Bhagavan also. Nothing mattered to him except his devotee. Now, this is what shall I say? The manner in which Swami treated his own devotees, the way in which he showed his affection, his grace. Now, if you go back in time and then look at this prayer that I was talking to you about, it is that prayer that is important for us. Now, you already heard in the morning the power of prayer. Unless you experience it, it is not possible for you to believe it. Unless you are able to actually see that it is working, then it is for you to experience it. You can't test God. You can't say, well, God, I need to have one rava idli now. Please get me the rava idli in 5 minutes. Then only I believe you. These are, what shall I say, deadlines. You can't give deadlines to God. But if you supplicate yourself to God, then there is every possibility that God will hear you. But one thing we need to remember is that the time frame of God and the time frame of man are very different. If you are hungry and you have a good meal, then your hunger is satisfied. It's immediate reaction. But if you are hankering for something, if you are hankering for peace, if you are hankering for union with God, then this time frame of morning prayer, Jat Mangani Patshadi, they say, no? Morning prayer, afternoon result, evening you go back to something else. That doesn't work. Your prayer and your karma has to fluctuate. And for that to happen, there must be a consistent, without ego, complete surrender to God. And this surrender is only possible if you are able to get devotion to God. Now, how do you get devotion to God? Bhakti, as we all just now heard, is how you supplicate yourself, how firmly you believe that God is hearing you, how firmly you believe that something is going to happen if you pray to your God, how firmly you believe and with what fervor you pray. This is something which one has to cultivate. Because many times people come and say, I came to Swami, I prayed for this, I prayed for that, nothing happened. And Swami always used to say, he used to ask people, what do you want? And many people in the illustrations you heard in the morning ask for so many things. And Swami used to say in many discourses, he said, many people come to ask for something, but they never come to ask me what I have come to give them. I come to give them something. What is it that they're asking me is something other than what I have come to give them. What is it that he has come to give us? He has come to give us faith, Shraddha, Bhakti, and show us the way towards spiritual fulfillment in life. Now, for this purpose, you need to introspect a little bit and look at how do you actually look at Swami as a guru. So there is a composition of Adi Shankaracharya. I am tempted to take a few verses from it. It's called Guru Ashtakam. Shariram surupam tatava kalatram yashascha ruchitram dhanam me rutulyam gurorangri padme manaschenna lagnam tatakim 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 tatakim. This last second line, it appears in all the shlokas. It simply means, what is the use of anything you may have if your eyes are not transfixed on the feet of the Guru? If your drishti is not on the feet of the Guru, what anything else you may have is of no consequence. So once we are sure about that, then you will realize where the Guru is going to take you. That is the next stotra I am going to talk about. So in this he says, Shariram, body, Surupam, beautiful, Kalatram, you got a lot of good qualities, Yashas Charu Chitram, that means your fame is gone everywhere, and Dhanam, or wealth, you got enough wealth like the Meru Parvata. Kubera is supposed to be the owner of Meru Parvata, which is the pinnacle of wealth. You have all that. All these things are there. Taken all these things are there. What is the views of all these things if your mind is not transfixed on the feet of the Guru? Kalatram dhanam putra pautra di sarvam gruham bandhavas sarvametadhi jatam. Then Gurorangri Padme. Now what else? Wife, wealth, sons, grandsons, palatial house with 50 rooms, like some of the Indian billionaires have homes with about 500 rooms. All this you have. You're born in a good family. Everything you have. Anything that a man in the world thinks is enough, you have. But Acharya says, what is the use of all this? If you don't have your sight at the feet of your Guru, then some more, what other things can one achieve? What can aspire? Shadanga divedo mukhe shastra vidya kavitva digadyam supadyam karoti. You have all the literary pursuits. You know the Shadangas, 6 Shastras. You know all the 4 Vedas. You are a great Pandit in Shastras. You love poetry, you are a great poet yourself. Prose, you are a master of prose. All this you have. Saraswati Ma has blessed you fully. You have got double PhD and you have finished doctorate of medicine, and you are a very renowned surgeon. What is the use of all this if you don't have your sights at the lotus feet of your Guru? What else can one think of achieving in life? Videsheshu manyaha swadesheshu dhanyah sadachara vritteshu matto na chanyaha. You are a renowned surgeon. Dr. Kalatia is invited every day to come to Bombay to operate on the wealthiest people in the whole world. 2 special planes are sent to him to come there. I'm a great lawyer. Every day somebody from New York flies me in a Concorde jet there. Videsheshu manyaha. That means all over the world. You're a great guy. Everybody knows you. And in this world, in India, you are, the President of India will pale into insignificance if they mention your name. That is your fame. Then you have got all the great qualities of righteousness. You are a very good person. You have no bad habits. You are a fantastic guy. Everybody, prostrates at your feet. But what is the use of all this if your sights are not set at the lotus feet of your Guru? It's all, in Kannada, vyartha. That means it is of no use. Then, Kshama mandale bhupa bhupala vrundai sada sevitam yasya padaravindam gurorangri padme. Continues in the same vein. You may, in the company of great people, you are given a doctorate by at least 20 universities in the world, honorary doctorate, honoris causa. You are called by the rulers and given great titles. You are called by great religious leaders and given titles. Guru Saurvabhauma. So many titles are given, Padma Shri, Padma Vibhushan. And every country in the world is giving you all this. But he says, what is the use of all this if you don't have the Guru in your sights? Yasho me gatam dikshu dana pratapa jagadvastu sarvam kareyat prasadat. His reputation has traveled all over. His prowess is known everywhere in the world. He has all the good virtues, but it's no use without the Guru's grace upon you. Na bhoge, na yoge, na vavajirajo, na kanta mukhe naiva vitteshu chittaha. He has an enchanting wife, beautiful family, all the wealth, everything. But it is of no use. So the way this composition goes is it's trying to tell you that you may have all these things, but the most important thing which you are missing is your sight on the Guru. Then last one. Aranye navaya swasya gehe na karye na dehe manovartate me tvadhangre. You want to renounce the world? You want to go and live in the forest? That means, yesterday I was talking to you about munivritti, one step before tyaga of your life. That means you have had enough of the world. You want to go and live solitude. You may get that also. And you may also feel, house, I don't need. Means you have already reached the stage of vairagya. Vairagya is, what shall I say? It is detachment from all worldly affections. Even if you reach that stage, it is of no use to you because Guru is the one who is going to take you forward. So the emphasis is on Guru. Now, if you look at it like that, what is it that we are all here for? Since we are blessed to be in the company of our Guru, and he is the one who's taking care of us, we don't have to have any worry. I now go back to the point where I left. So after some years, when I was asked to go to Jamnagar, I was told that you go to the airport, then it was the old HAL airport in Bangalore, and somebody will give you your ticket and boarding pass. I said, who is going to give me? You don't worry, it will reach you. So I went there, and there's a guy called Sathya who was a public relations officer for the government. So he used to usher in all the government VIPs. So I got on the car, and he was standing there, and he said, "Sir, this is your boarding pass. Uh, Please come, I'll take you." He took me to the VIP room there. This is only reserved for government guests. I said, "No, I am not entitled to be here." "No, no, sir, you have to come here." So this is Swami's style of doing things, okay? So we went there, sat down there. I find somebody sitting there, nice safari suit, tip top. The minute I looked at him, I said, "He looks familiar." So then they introduced me, "Sir, this is Mr. Chakravarti." So I said, "Sir, namaskara. I have seen you, sir, in Prashanti Nilayam, but I never spoke to you. I didn't know who you are." This is about 3 years after I started going to Prashanti Nilayam. See, what I'm saying is, when your sight is on Bhagavan, you don't see who is sitting here, who is doing what, who is big industrialist, who is lawyer, who is doctor, nothing. Our sight is only on God. And I used to see Mr. Chakravarti every time after I sat down, just few minutes before Bhagavan would come, he would come very stiffly, walk up, nicely tip-top dress and all, and he had a particular place, there was one pillar, he would sit right in front of that pillar. Nobody used to occupy that place. That was his reserved place. He would come, he would sit there. As soon as Swami comes, finishes his darshan, everything, he goes into interview room, he'll get up and scoot, run away. So I'd never asked anybody, who is this gentleman? Sometimes I wondered, who's this guy who comes like this, sits like this and goes away like this? Then I realized who he is. So then they introduced me, and then of course, our long friendship started on that day. 2 to 3 years after I first set eyes on him, I was introduced to him. So I remembered this incident when Shitu was talking about Hanuman, when Rama asked him, "Are you ready to go?" So Swami said, "You have to go." I said, "Okay, go." I didn't ask what I have to do there. He said, "You just go." I go. So we landed up on the flight, and I'll shorten the narrative a little bit. And then we reached Jamnagar. We had to go to Ahmedabad and take a flight and all that. We reached Jamnagar. And after I went there, I asked Mr. Chakravarti, "Sir, what? I have come here with you. I don't know why I have come. I hope you know why you have come. And what are we supposed to do here?" He said, "Hey, you don't know, no, I will tell you." So then he gave me a narrative of what had happened. There was a big property there that was in some dispute. Somebody was squatting over the property. So we had to go and sort things out, take back possession of that place. And it was a very complicated issue that had to be resolved. So I really don't know what Swami expected me to be there, but he wanted me to be there. So we went there, and then we had discussions. We met a local lawyer, and it went on for quite a long time. It was a difficult negotiation that had to take place. Then we drew up some documentation and all that. We needed some help from government. They had to throw out some people from that place. All that was achieved in less than 24, 48 hours. And the Jam Sahib came to receive us when we landed in Jamnagar. Now, all of you might know, the Jam Sahib is the son of Rajmata of Navanagar. Rajmata of Navanagar, Swami is a great devotee. Her son is the current Jam Sahib. He is the ruler of the state of Jamnagar. So he received us, and he's a grand old man, and that's a different story altogether about him, which I'm not going to digress. So this entire episode was done. Then the time for us to get back. On the 18th of May is my youngest daughter's birthday. Now we were supposed to return on the 20th of May. So after this work was done and everything was done, I sent word to Chakravarti to say, "Sir, my daughter's birthday is there. If you don't mind, I will go 2 days earlier. Now that work is over, you can come later." So he said, "We have come together. Don't you think we should go back together?" So I said, "No, sir, Swami sent me. He didn't say I should come back together. So, if you permit me, I will leave." So he said, "Parpa, ni enna pandriyo panko." He washed his hands off. He said, "I am not going to tell you. It's your decision." So then we managed to change the ticket. And I reached the airport that morning. The flight from Bombay, it comes to Jamnagar. From Jamnagar, it goes to Bhuj. And from Bhuj, it comes back to Bombay. So if you have to take a flight from Jamnagar to Bombay, flight is Bombay, Bhuj, Jamnagar, Bhuj, Bombay. So we got up in the morning, caught the flight, and as I went to the airport, I saw Jam Sahib also there. I said, "Sir, are you also going?" "Yes, we are both on the same flight. Come, we'll sit together." So both of us got the last row and sitting there. Flight took off. Jam Sahib himself is a great pilot and all. He flew in the Second World War. So many stories he told me. So finally we took off and we reached Bhuj. The flight wouldn't land. So it went on round and round and round for a long time. And then Jam Sahib told me, Naganand, there is a problem. I think pilot is not able to land, so I don't know what will happen. No announcement was made. It went on like this for some time, and then suddenly we heard an announcement to say, there was very heavy rain in Bombay this morning, so some water has got into some of the meters, so our altimeter is not working in the plane, so we don't know at what altitude we are flying. And I'm also not sure if the wheels are going to come out. So be prepared for the worst. So everybody started screaming, praying, this, that and all. So anyway, we had no choice. So we waited. I chanted Hanuman Chalisa. And Jam Sahib was in his own world, happily enjoying all this. So after some time, he made an attempted landing. And to our good fortune, the plane landed safely without an altimeter. The wheels came out also. But as we landed there, the plane got stuck. In the sense that they said, this plane is not airworthy. It's not going to go now. So, you can do whatever you want. So what do we do now? So Jam Sahib said, Arey, we are in Bhuj. It is my neighboring state. I can't enter the state without, paying respect to the Raja of this place. So I can't get off from here. So what do you mean? You're going to be sitting on the plane all the time? He said, no, this is the rivaj that we follow. I said, okay, then what do we do now? That's the only exception I can make is that we'll get out of the airport, get into the nearest available car and drive all the way back across the run of Kutch back to Jamnagar, which is a whole 14-hour journey. So we did that, got into the car with him, and I had great entertainment. And he told me a number of stories. And finally, at about 9 o'clock in the night, we reached Jamnagar back. And Mr. Chakravarti was in the same hotel where I was there when we checked out. So he looked at me sheepishly in the night. Means, have you gone to Bangalore and come back? I said, sir, this is what happened. We went like this, took one full pradakshana of the run of Kutch, and I had the great company of Jam Sahib. I'm back with you. Na sollaliya. Didn't I tell you this? You cannot do anything contrary to what Swami says. This is something which we must always bear in mind. Whatever be the thing, it is only when he permits you that you can do things. Now, many people ask me, what are all these mundane things that you keep asking Swami for? Does he not know? Now, you see, with Swami, you don't have to ask for things for yourself. Shitu's point of view is that if you yearn for something, you can ask. But I believe that there is no need for us to ask Swami anything. I'll now tell you an episode. Again, it's something in our personal lives. One day, Swami called us for an interview. As soon as we went inside, my wife and I, he looked at me and he said, what are you doing? So it was a question which I had no idea what Swami meant. So, yenu marta ilva? It means you're not doing anything. Again, it was very intriguing. First he said, what are you doing? Then he said, you are not doing anything. So what exactly did he mean? Daughter vastar kada. So my daughter is just about to finish her master's degree in Washington and coming back to India. So Swami was reminding me that my parental duty of finding a match for her was overdue. So then immediately it struck me and I said, yes, Swami, I'm looking, I'll do something. So then again, I'm cutting the story short, went to somebody and something happened. And the second time I mentioned to him a name. And I said, he is so and so. Very good boy. Go talk to the father. So the father of this boy was very well known to me, known to our family for 3 generations. So I called on him in his house. He said, yes, Naganand, what brings you here? I said, no, I'm just thinking my daughter is coming back. She's qualified in law. Your son is a lawyer. So I'm thinking of a match. So he looked at me like this sternly and said, Naganand, you are asking me this question. Answer is obviously yes. There is nothing for me to think about it. What more is there to think about it? When you say your family, I know your family, nothing more for me to think. But I have not asked my son whether he is ready for marriage. So then I said, okay, sir. I came away. Next day, my son-in-law dropped into my house. He's also a lawyer. And he said, sir, I'm told that you came to meet my father. And, you inquired about me. I'm deeply obliged that you thought fit to consider me as your prospective son-in-law. It's something which should be great, and I would love to meet your daughter. But she was still in the US, and this boy did not have a US visa. I said, how are you going to see her now? She's coming back only after 5-6 months. He came to England for some work. He was studied in Warwick. And so I told my daughter that, if you would like to see him, why don't you fly over to London? And we have friends there and we're staying there, so maybe you could meet there. And so she came from there to London, and this boy came from Bangalore to London. They met there for a few days, and on the third day they telephoned in the middle of the night to say that they are quite happy and they would like to take it forward. Now, you see how Swami prompted you. I did not ask Swami anything. But Swami knew what is to be done at what stage. And the same girl, she was very adamant that she wanted to come to the United States for an undergraduate degree in law. I was very keen that she should do a graduation in India and then come for post-graduation. My wife was not keen that she should go anywhere, like all mothers. How can the daughter go to America and stay there? We don't know what will happen. And, all the terrible type of people that you have there. That's the thinking of every Indian mother, So she said nothing doing. So every day it was a big tussle for me at home. Daughter is saying, I want to go to US. Mother is saying, you're not going anywhere. You join college here. So I gave up. And we went to Prashanthi Nilayam one day. I did not tell Swami anything. So Swami called all of us for an interview. And he looked at her. And he said, so what do you want to study? He asked her. And, your father is a lawyer. You want to study law? Then she said, yes, Swami, I'm thinking of studying law. You do one thing. You finish undergraduate studies in India, in Bangalore. For post-graduation, I am going to send you to America. She was shocked by this direction of Swami, because last 15 days at home, there was a Mahabharata Yuddha going on between mother and daughter. And I was sandwiched in the middle, not knowing what to do. Swami solved it in a jiffy like this. And when the minute he said that, he said, are you happy? Will you do that? He asked her. Yes, Swami, yes, Swami, yes, Swami, she said. So she didn't take 1 minute. And then after coming out of the interview room, she said, Mommy, did you tell Swami all these things about me? So both of us told her that, we didn't tell Swami anything about you or us. He called us for an interview, and this is what happened. So in other words, you don't have to ask. It is always God's prerogative to give you what is to be given at the right time, but you have to only keep your hand ready, receive it with gratitude, and do accordingly. Now the same year or two after a wedding, again we are called for an interview, and Swami mischievously, as soon as we went and sat down inside, he looked at my daughter, and in a smiling face he said, Yen samachara. Now, for those of us who are from our area will know that when an elder person asks a newly married girl, Yen samachara, it means, are you in the family way? That is the purport of that question. That's how Swami put it to her. So she caught the point. She said, no, Swami, no, Swami, no, Swami. And she tried to change the topic. And then the interview went on. It went like that. Believe it or not, she went back to Bangalore on the next day, and her pregnancy was confirmed on the next day, which she herself did not know. Now Swami knew it. And Swami is the one who blessed. And that girl, she had a daughter, Samika, That girl was, what shall I say, it was some very special affection that Swami had for her. From the time she was born, she would always accompany us to Puttaparthi, even when she was, using a feeding bottle. Whenever we went to Puttaparthi, my wife and I, even if the children didn't come, this girl would come with us. In fact, after when she was about 1.5, 2 years old, if she heard that we are going, she would insist on her mother packing a bag, and she would come outside by the gate and wait, saying, Ajji, Tata are coming, I'm going with them to Puttaparthi. And she used to sit absolutely calmly in darshan. It was a long wait, no problem whatsoever. She never cried, nothing happened. And every time Swami came, he used to see her. And he used to bless her. Many times he would stop by and offer something to her. If my wife stretched her hand out to receive it, he would not give it to her. He would insist that only Samika will receive it. And he will give it to her and in her hand. Many times he used to stop and tell her, come do namaskara, sai namaskara madu. So this kind of affection went on like this. And one fine day, Swami, after seeing her so many times, he called us and said, you have adopted this granddaughter of yours? Because she's coming with you every time and don't see mother. Then we had to tell Swami, no, Swami, this is, I don't know what it is, that this is how she is conducting herself. The minute she knows about you, she says, I'm coming. There's not a single occasion when she did not come. And the day she arrived in this world also, it was on Vijayadashmi day. And we reached ashram, Vijayadashmi, we had to be there. On Navami, my daughter was, expecting any day. So we said, let's take a gamble, we can't miss Vijayadashmi. So we reached ashram at about 7 o'clock in the evening. As soon as we got off from the car and got to Shanti Bhavan, we got a call to say she's gone into labor. She's now in the hospital. So, you guys think of coming back. So we didn't even get down. We just got back into the car and reached straight to the hospital. And of course, she was born the next morning, which is Vijayadashmi day. So what I'm saying is there is nothing like you're having to ask Bhagavan anything. It is his prerogative and privilege to give you whatever has to be given at whatever time it has to be given. Now, this bhakti is one thing. The next thing is karma yoga. In karma yoga, we all have to do something. We have to do good things. And that is our duty. And the duty is whatever you are doing, if you do it with a sense of worship and devotion, that is itself enough for God to be pleased. In fact, in the whole of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Sri Krishna refers to Arjuna and says, after this Vishada Yoga, he says, why are you in a state of sorrow? All that you have to do is you have to adopt your Kshatriya Dharma. That is your duty. You are the king, you are the ruler, you have to fight for a cause. If incidentally there is collateral damage, your great uncle, your great sires, all your teachers, everybody has to go from this world. It is their karma that they have to go at your hands. It is not somebody else's karma. So therefore, you don't take the blame upon yourself. You do your duty. Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma paleshu kadachanaha. Another statement of Krishna. That means doing your duty is your job. Don't anticipate the fruits of your action yourself. You should do it with nishkama karma. Now that's exactly what our Sai organization is propelling and asking us to do. Swami is telling us to do that. No? You have to help somebody. Help them in whatever way you have to help them. You don't expect anything in return. In fact, Swami has even said that you must, whenever you do Narayan Seva, you must thank the Narayana. I mean, why should you thank the Narayana? He's receiving something from you. The reason why you have to thank him is that he or she has given you an opportunity to do seva. They are inducing in you a sense of gratitude that they gave you an opportunity to help somebody. Otherwise, you did not have that opportunity. So you have to thank them and then give them, with, of course, your greetings and Sai Ram. That's how we do Narayan Seva. So this karma is one thing. And therefore, the service wing is very, very important. And the Bhakti Yoga, I think we talked a lot about it. Now you look at the Gnana Yoga. Now what is Gnana Yoga say? Gnana Yoga, it refers to what should be our state of mind. And Swami often referred to this as the fact that all of you are divine. There is nothing other than divinity. How do you realize it? Now, unless you put all these three together, you're not going to be able to achieve Swami. Because we have to achieve Swami. We have to become one with Swami. We all have to think and be and act like Bhagavan. Exactly how? One small incident. One day, Swami was then in Purnachandra. He was seated outside, I don't know, those of you who have seen it, very small dining room was there. In front of that, there is still smaller sitting room. There was one Swami sofa was there. Next to that, 1-2 chairs, and that's it. No furniture, nothing, no carpet. I mean, it was frugal in the sense it was more like a hut of a very poor person. That's how it was. The table was some ordinary table, simple chair, no ostentation, nothing whatsoever. Bare shell it was. So Swami is sitting there. Next to him, he had a big bin. So he was opening letters, and he would read some, smile at some, throw some. Then some he would throw at us to say, see what all, pichi pichi anta rastaru. Means all sorts of things they're writing to me. And it would go on like this for some time. Suddenly, he saw at the door, there's a boy standing there. He looked at that boy and started staring at him. So the boy was standing very dutifully, young boy, I think must have been only about 12 or 13 years. Suddenly, Swami started crying. Tears. He started sobbing. I was, with great difficulty, I was standing. Swami insisted that I should sit on the chair, so I sat. And then I didn't know what to do. What am I supposed to do? Swami crying like this, that boy is standing like this, and I'm sitting here. And Swami suddenly composed himself, looked at me, said, do you know who that boy is? I said, no, Swami, I've seen him here. I know he is from Karnataka because he speaks Kannada. Yes, he is from a place called Markara in Kurg. It's a hilly part of our state. And this boy was in the bus stop. They were all abusing him. He has no parents. He was living alone. And I told him to come here. I brought him here. Then I just kept quiet. Then he's serving you here, Swami, I said. Then he looked at him. Asked that boy, are you happy here? So the minute Swami asked that boy started crying. He said, Swami, I had nobody. You brought me here, and I'm sitting here, and you're giving me everything. How can you say, are you happy here? I'm very happy here. Now, why I'm narrating this incident is, see, Swami's heart was like, softer than the softest butter that you can think of. It would just melt instantaneously. If ever he heard anything which was painful, which caused pain to somebody, he would immediately, melt and say, whatever we have to do, we'll do. That's how this Dina Janodharana foundation was started and orphanage was started. When he heard that some woman, because of poverty, killed her 2 children, fell into the well and she died, it was in the newspaper. Next day, Swami said, all children, whoever has to come, can come here. So how does this happen? Now, this is another composition called Nirvana Shatakam. It is, everything is, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. What am I? The catchword in this, Chidananda Rupam Shivoham Shivoham. Chidananda Rupam. Chit Ananda. Sat Chit Ananda. You would have heard these 3 words. No? Sat is the eternal truth. Chit is a sense of peace. Ananda is a sense of complete bliss. So the composition says, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. But who am I? I am Chidananda Rupa. I'll read just a few verses, a short composition of 6 verses only. I'll not take all of it. Mano buddhi ahankara chitta ninaham nacha shrotra jihve cha granatra netre nacha vyoma bhumir na tejo na vayuhu Chidananda Rupam Shivoham Shivoham. Who am I not? I am not the mind. I am not the intellect. I am not the ego. Nor am I the memory. I am not the five organs, sense organs. Neither am I space, nor am I earth. I am not air. You know, our body is Panchabhuta. But the beautiful composition says, I am neither air nor water. What am I? Chidananda Rupam. I am God. I am Shiva. Swami always used to say, you are God. I am God. We all have to realize that we are all gods. How can you have love if you don't have this feeling? If you feel that somebody on the street is a poor man, I think we should look the other way when I'm going. But the minute you start feeling compassion, oh, unfortunately, I'm in a comfortable suit and this man is, in great difficulty. Can I help him in some way? On this trip, when I was on the ship, I got a message from our Freemasons Lodge. We run an old age home called Tara. There's a cook there who's about 30 years, 35 years, lady. And she realized that her 3-year-old son is a juvenile diabetic. And some tests were done, and she made a fervent appeal to the lodge to say, I need some money for this. So can somebody help? No, the minute I read that, it sort of touched my heart. I said, just imagine the condition of that poor young mother. Her husband is not there. She is eking out a living, working as a cook in an old age home with no other support for her. A 3-year-old baby girl and having this issue. How will she manage? So one other Freemason had offered to send some money, so I immediately responded to say, well, I'm away from India, but please pay it as soon as I come. I will make good the money. What I'm saying is it's something which comes, instantaneously into you. This is what we need to understand. Love is something in action, It's not that you feel compassion for somebody and then go home and sit down. It has to translate into action. That will only happen if you reflect on these verses. Second one says, Nacha prana sangyo na vai pancha vayuhu na va satya dharman na pancha koshaha na vakya nipado na chautpataya chidananda rupam shivoham shivoham. I am not the 5 pranas. Pancha prana is prana, pana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. Nor am I the 7 components which form my body or the 7 sheets that are around us. We have Jnanamaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha. There are 5 sheets that we talk about in Taittiriya Upanishad. I am not the leg, I am not the hand, I am not the bodies. Who am I? I am the supreme, blissful Shiva, permanent God. Na me dvesha ragau, na me lobha moho, mado naiva me naiva matsyarya bhavaha, na dharmo na chartho na kamo na mokshaha, chidananda rupam shivo. What else am I not? He says, I am not even moksha. Do I have kama, desires, greed? I am not that. Do I have pride, jealousy? What the poet is trying to emphasize is in a human body, in a human mind, all these qualities are there. I am the ego. I am the big boss of this place. I can do anything that I want. I can achieve anything under the sun. These are things. Oh, somebody has got a beautiful car. How I wish, I had a car like that. And I have a good car. That guy has got a better car. Why should he have a better car and I have a not so better car? What are these qualities? These are qualities in the human mind, isn't it? Are you any of those? Now, why the poet is narrating this is he is drawing our attention to these qualities that we all think we are made up of. But he's saying, no, forget about it, boss. You are none of these things. You are Chidananda Rupaha. You are Shiva. You are the ultimate Godhead. Na punyam, na papam, na saukhyam, na dukkham, na mantro, na tirtho, na veda, na yajna. aham bhojanam naiva bhojyam cha bhokta chidananda roop. This is beautiful, What is it? Are you punya? You have done good things? You have earned some merit? Or is it a bundle of papa that you did? Or are you very comfortable? But are you a bundle of dukkha? Who doesn't have dukkha? Is there a single person in this whole world who doesn't have dukkha? You think the richest man in this world has no sadness? Surely he or she will have that sadness. Something will make him sad. God has given us everything, but there is always something which makes us sad. Then mantro tirtho, you are a great learned person, you are doing puja, you are going to all the pilgrimages, and you are doing yajnas, you are learning Vedas. Are you the food? Are you the eater? Are you the person who is enjoying the food? No, you are none of these. The body is not you. Chidananda Rupaha. Name mrityu shankha, name jata bhedaha, pita naiva me naiva mata cha janmaha, na bandhur na mitram gurur naiva shishyaha, chidananda rupam. It goes on. Mrityu shankha, who is not afraid of death? In fact, I know I've run out of time, but I'll take another 3-4 minutes and conclude. I have to narrate this. My father had a paralytic seizure about 5-6 years before he actually left. He had no other complications, so one day he had a problem, and I'll again cut the story long. After all the tests were over, he nearly recovered entirely. And the last check he had, the doctor made him sit down. Sir, please sit down. I want to explain to you what your problem is, and I want to tell you. Then he suddenly paused and said, shall I tell you the truth? So my dad instantaneously said, of course you have to tell me the truth. There's no doubt about it. And before the doctor could react, he said, what is it you're going to tell me? That I have a few days to go? My bag is packed. I'm ready to go. Can you imagine the state of mind? How do you reach that state of mind? He says, my bag is packed. And literally his bag was packed all the time after that. The day he left us, his bag was completely packed. There was not a single paper upside down. So this is a philosophy of life. So he says, na mrityu bhaya. Then bandhuhu, people whom we love, people who are around us, these are the people who we want to be with. Friends, I mean, who doesn't like friends? I have friends dating back to the 1960s who still we correspond, we meet. I met him in London recently. And, friends are very important for us. But is that what human beings are about? Is it about your relationship between Guru and Shishya? No, you are Chidananda Rupam. And the last one, he is explaining now. Aham nirvikalpo nirakara rupo vibhutyapya sarvatra yamyat sadame samatvam na mruktir na bandhuhu chidananda rupam shivoham. He's saying, who am I now? Answer is here. Aham nirvikalpo. It is something which you cannot imagine. Kalpana is to imagine. Swami used to say this, don't try to understand me. Forget about understanding, you cannot even imagine me. I am nirvikalpa, you cannot understand me. Nirakara, I have no form. I have no particular existence, no nirakara rupaha. Swami said this so many times. Don't think this is the human body. I am not this human body. I am different from this human body. I am something else beyond the human body. And the poet here is telling us, you are that. And exactly what Swami was telling us all the life. He was telling us, you are that instant great being that is God, that is around. Vibhutyapya sarvatra sarvendriyanam. You are everywhere in the cosmos. You are in every being. Sadame samatvam na muktir na bandhu. You are always there. There is nothing like mukti. Mukti means, you are on a journey. So you have a destination. From Bangalore you fly and you land in, let's say, Bombay. That is destination. There is no destination here. Mukti is a destination. So there is no mukti here. And you are always there. And there is no connection. Connection to anything worldly is not there. Your only connection is to Swami. Think what a wonderful message Swami has given us. And this is the very essence of Vedanta. So when you coalesce all these three things, you look at karma, you're doing everything. You look at bhakti is, tears coming down your eyes when you hear the beautiful bhajans that were sung, Maduram, Maduram. And the awareness of the greatness of God and how Swami instilled in us the feeling that we are all part of a divine life. We are all divinity. It is for us to live the life of a divine. We can only continue to pray to Bhagavan, as the prayer which I opened by saying, God, continue to bless us with that desire to keep on asking you for more and more and more of sublimation. That's all that you can ask for. That's the way you can take us towards yourself, so that ultimately when we shed our body, we become one with you. I think that is the ultimate message of Bhagavan in my limited understanding of Swami's teachings. Jai Sai Ram.